What's up guys, welcome to another video, and today we're gonna take a look at how good or bad this car is. So we're gonna put up on the lift and just kind of see what I got myself into. Alright, so far before I lift up the car, wiring I'm definitely gonna have to address quite a bit. Now there's been patches for like the turn signals. This one, mounts are completely broken on it. This car has been repainted from what I can tell in its life. The driver headlight seems like there's no bottom bolts holding this in, so it kind of does that. Passenger side is good. All the TPI wiring, for the most part, from what I can tell, is still in here, and they just kind of cut what they need for fuel pump, regulated it down for the carb, and wired up the fans for both fans for ignition. Since I assume either the computer's still in the car, but yeah, don't know what they did in that regard. So it seems like the handbrake does not work. It's all the way up, and I'm pretty sure I can roll the car, which I kind of got it set up on the lift right now. Spoiler wise, I don't know what this is. It kind of seems like, I don't know, like it's half of the original wraparound, and then oh yeah, I see body work here. So it looks as it's been cut, then like fiberglass a little bit, yeah, and just kind of made it look like the traditional Firebird wing, but a little bit different. So it's odd. Body wise, I mean, it's got a couple of nicks and scratches, but I don't see any like major dents, anything like that. Paint seems to be holding pretty well. It's got a pretty good metallic in it. I don't know if this is like an original color of the car itself or it's painted something aftermarket. So if I need touch up, I don't know exactly if this is gonna match anything if I use an original color. We got spare parts in the back, which this is what I want to check out today. So it's got a spare digital dash, and I want to try to pull this one out and just see how that looks, or if it even works. So that'd be nice. Apparently the temperature gauge on this doesn't work, but I don't know if that's a wiring issue of what they did, or if it's just a bad gauge itself. So with that, I want to lift the car up. The nice thing is, I did sell the motor and trans out of this, so there's a guy that just really wants the transmission out of it, and I'm selling it together, so whatever he wants to do with the 305, that's on him. It sounds like it's got something done to it, that's for sure. So yeah, no idea, but it's got a little bit of a lump to it. Yeah, let's get this thing up in the air and just kind of check out the underside. Alright, let me show you guys what I found. So, factory air dam, missing the two outer pieces. It should come all the way around to help direct air up. And this guy hangs down because there's no support for it right now. We got a leaking steering box, just a little bit. Rad support seems, I mean, for its age, in fairly good shape. This looks like a pretty new rad. You can see it there, so I might hang on to that. I may not. This motor leaks everywhere. So we got front timing cover, looks like leaking all the way down. Shocks look pretty old and worn, not surprised. Stock springs, very interesting exhaust setup. So someone's made someone's pipe bent. This looks like stainless. Someone spent some money on the exhaust, which is kind of why it sounds kind of cool. Transmission, looking like Civ. Maybe not. This, I don't know, probably is. There's a lot of oil back here as well. But it doesn't seem like it's dripping from the back of the motor for rear main. But yeah, underside down here is coated, which I'm not against, since this is probably what saved it from rusting, probably worse than it should be. There is a small hole right here. So, small patchwork. This is nothing horrible. That's to be expected, especially in that corner. So that's, I think, probably the worst of it. Maybe not. Alright, so we got a little bit back here as well at the plugs. So not surprised. So yeah, patch of the floor. Not too bad. Take a look back here. So I try to use the parking brake, and I see why it doesn't work. So you can kind of see there, and especially up top here. So this parking brake cable probably does not exist because I don't see anything at all. Yep, so no parking brake cable on the passenger side. Diff, what do we got back here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolt. Pretty common on these. I don't know what rear end gear is in it. It'd be hard to tell right now. Not that that matters. Fuel lines, fuel tank. Fuel lines aren't horrible, but they are right here. Tank seems to be in fairly good shape from what I can see. Doesn't seem like it's, yeah, it looks pretty good. So we got slight tearing up here by that rear frame. And this side, a little bit, but not crazy. Usual spots, but that can be fixed. And there's a crack on the bumper cover here. Looks like someone's just kind of pushed up on that, but other than that, the rest looks pretty good. So I think it's pretty solid. No one's like jacked up on the pinch welds. So I think we had a pretty good base to start with. I'm noticing that even on the, you can kind of see the waviness there on the bottom ground effects. They've got a coating, so whoever painted it did invest some money into the paint. So I'm happy about that. And it seems like it goes all the way around. It does. So that's cool, or it's just a lot of actual paint itself. Actually, it looks like just a heavy coat and just not wet sanded down. Whatever, it works. Yeah, so I'm kind of pleased with that. You need some bushings and stuff, like that's going to be all normal wear and tear. Would be gone. Ooh, we got rim contact ditch right there. Look at that. Okay. All right, so small things. Motor mounts are kind of sagging, whatever, don't care. So the goal is to do a tubular front K-member meant for an LS swap. So with that, after seeing this, it looks like I should probably just do tubular control arms as well. Because at that point, if we're going to drop everything out of this, it'd just be smarter, easier, cost effective to update everything all one shot. It's going to be a lot of upfront costs, but I want to kind of one and done this time. So, and I want to keep a lot more space because I do want to add AC back into this car and keep the turbo kit. So that's where I want to clear out as much space underneath to allow to rework the turbo hot side to make this work. So I don't know how I plan on tackling that. If I want to drop everything as it is first, take it to my buddy shop once it's up and running, pull the hot side, and then add the AC compressor, and then kind of start to work that out. So we'll see. But yeah, it looks pretty good underneath. All right, so inside the car, you can see driver's seat, toast. Now it does work. The lumbar, it's kind of nice, but it's a power slide still, so that's weird. And then you got this guy here, which allows you to adjust the forward and back of the headrest, so that I think is kind of cool. I know these are still worth something to someone, and it can be recovered, so it's not a bad seat at all. I imagine that usually down in there, the bolts that hold them in are pretty rusty, so wouldn't be surprised that that's got a little bit of needs a little bit of love. But yeah, other than that, the interior is fairly clean. Headliner is falling right down out of it, which is common with these. With the coupes, we have the overhead console. This one still has its original overhead separate light. So those are usually fun for people to try to take as they go missing. But I want to see if I can pull out this cluster, and I have a spare one, and see if maybe the driver information panel itself is good. On the other one, this one flashes, so we'll see if we can get that apart. Trunk wise, let's see if we can. Well, shocks are good. It's nice to have the trunk shade again. It does retain quite a bit of heat out of the interior if you have one. My current car does not, because I got the roll cage. Inside the actual compartment, actually sells the factory box. Over to mine now. What do we got here? A random spring and some super glue, and that's probably for the cracked door sill top portion of the door pad itself. But yeah, this all looks in pretty relatively good shape. That's nice. Hatch doesn't seem to be completely rotted out of itself. The hinges are in good shape. And then usually you see quite a bit of rust here where the water drips down. So that's not bad as well. Typical for its age. Tail lights. These are not bad. Actually, they're in pretty good shape. The Astro grid on them is actually good. This has a small hairline crack, which can be fixed. Alright, here's what I got. So let me turn the fan off. Little one. So, this is the spare parts dash that I got with the car. And on the one that came out of the car, which is over there, just so I don't get them all mixed up, the tach works, the speedometer works, fuel gauge works, the temperature gauge does not seem to work, so I don't know if it's a problem here or a sensor in the car, the wiring for the car for the temperature gauge. I don't know if that's hooked up. But the one in the car, the indicator doesn't show up at all in the middle, where the oil pressure does and the battery voltage does. On the dash that came out, which is this. So this is the face, so I don't want to lose the insert here. But the odometer here does not work properly. It flashes like off and on the entire time. So I want to take this one out and take this guy out, swap them, put it back in the car, and see what works. I just got to figure out how it comes apart without breaking anything, because this being 80s plastic, it's extremely brittle. It was a fight to get this off. Someone's had this off before, because this one's actually broken on the top corner. No big deal. But that's where I'm at. It's just trying to figure out how to do that. And I do have another top piece which is not broken, so that's going to be used instead. I see a couple burnt bulbs. So on this cluster, this guy here would be the service engine light, and then the one next to it would be the parking brake. On the one that came out of the car, there's no bulbs in them, actually. So I do want to change that, because I will be using those. So see, those two are there. This one, I believe, is seatbelt, and then the one next to it is the choke if it was carbureted, which I don't understand why. I can kind of see it there, the symbol for choke. Don't know why that's there, but I might repurpose that. There is a top corner one as well here, the shift light for shift up. I do have an aftermarket tack that reads higher. Now I may not use the tack and kind of hide it in the dash, but wire up the shift light to actually work through the factory shift light and set that, so that'll be kind of cool. So just kind of keep it sleek. Or look into just a shift light, take it apart and just have it run up through there. We'll see how that goes. That's a long ways away. But on the spare parts dash, I want to see how this comes apart first before I touch the one that I know works, because I don't want to break anything on that, otherwise I'm screwed. So let me try to play with this and see if we can get this apart nicely. Alright, so I got everything pretty much swapped over that I want to test out. I changed all the bulbs. The service engine light probably going to stay on because the computer is not hooked up or seeing anything. Yeah, so far, if I turn the ignition on, so this all looks a lot better because I changed the bulbs. They're a bunch brighter. Yes, temperature gauge, I think that is going to be from the original sensor. So we'll see about that. And now we got to put this piece back on and see if the odometer works. Alright, so this either works or does not work. Oh, it does not work. Apparently there's a memory chip on there. I saw it on both of them. And that's probably what's the fault. So it's probably not a hard thing to fix. I got to do some research on it. But I changed all of the 194 bulbs, which makes this light up a lot more, so you can actually see it pretty clearly. I got the service engine light working properly now. So this guy. So yeah, this is doing the same thing. I would press it to kilometers per hour. It wouldn't stay on there. So I don't know how that actually works. So nothing in regards to that is working. It's telling me that the trunk is open, which it is. And the fog lights, apparently there's a bulb out on one of them. So that's interesting. And there it is when I turn the lights on. So I'm happy at least it's a lot brighter, because I was worried about that. I thought this was actually an LCD screen, which it's not. So it's just plastic, like transparent plastic behind it. And the bulbs just make them illuminate. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, looks like I need some bulbs, do some research on that, and well, it was worth a shot. So coolant temp, I think that's a separate issue. I think that is going to be wherever the wire for the coolant temp sensor is not properly hooked up, and that's why it doesn't read anything. But I would assume that it would read down here like just nothing. So who knows? That's a whole separate issue. But I plan on changing the radio, putting my double DIN in, which I'd be using my Android Torque app, which will show me all of the LS gauges, including coolant temp. So I can always have that up on here, and it'd be nice if it works on there properly, but not a major deal. Odometer, I do want to get that set up properly. So yeah, we'll put all this back together, and then we'll check out the taillights. Well, digging through the parts, I actually realized I got 2 right side only GTA taillights. I got these so long ago, I forgot I was looking for a left side, but that's okay. So one of them, as you can see, is in good shape, but it's missing the reflective piece, and then the other one is delaminating on the inside. So for guys with F-bodies, especially Trans Ams, know that repairing the grid is like a pain to do nicely to look factory. I've seen guys try to separate the plastic and then try to paint inside of the plastic black again and then put it back together, but it doesn't give a quite OEM finish. I've seen some look pretty good, but you can tell it's been modified. The plastic itself on this one, it's got some cracks, but you can actually fill that and polish it, but this one's actually pretty deep into the grid where that would always show. But the rest of the small cracks are not too bad. You can kind of see the old red Pontiac sticker that used to be in here. Whew, it's sweating. Still kind of shows on both of them. You can kind of see it there, Pontiac. So I do want to now start the hunt for the left side and put them on this car. Well guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you have any leads on GTA parts, please contact me, let me know, and leave a comment. Like, a whole lot of work today to do. Next video, we're going to tear that 305 out and get ready for the new transplant. So, see you guys later.